Everyone thinks Charles Manson was a mastermind. They're wrong. He was far more insidious. He didn't need a grand plan or a charismatic ideology. Instead, Manson preyed on the disillusioned, the lost souls of the late 1900s 60s, turning their yearning for peace into a terrifying instrument of chaos. His family wasn't built on love, but on fear, manipulation, and a twisted vision of the apocalypse. Before the murders, Charles Manson was a career criminal, a drifter in and out of institutions since childhood. He wasn't educated or eloquent, yet he possessed an uncanny ability to identify and exploit the psychological vulnerabilities of others. He saw the cracks in the counterculture and knew exactly how to widen them. By 1967, Manson had landed in San Francisco, the epicenter of the Summer of Love. Instead of flowers, he offered a dark alternative, a commune where free love mixed with mind-altering drugs and a distorted gospel of social revolution. Young women, particularly, found themselves drawn into his orbit, seeking belonging. His family grew, a collection of runaways, drifters, and troubled individuals seeking purpose. Manson offered them a sense of family, a place where they felt accepted. But acceptance came at a price: absolute obedience to Charlie. He became their guru, their father figure, their everything. They moved to the Spahn Ranch, an abandoned movie set in the dusty hills outside Los Angeles. Here, isolated from the outside world, Manson's control solidified. He used LSD and other psychedelics, coupled with constant psychological conditioning, to break down his followers' individual wills. He began preaching about helter-skelter, a coming apocalyptic race war he believed was prophesied in the Beatles' White Album. Manson interpreted the lyrics as a coded message, claiming it foretold a violent uprising where Black Americans would defeat white society, only to then turn to him for leadership. His goal wasn't just to predict helter-skelter, it was to ignite it. Manson believed that by committing a series of shocking murders, he could provoke the racial conflict he so desperately desired. He intended to frame Black Panther members, escalating racial tensions to a breaking point. On August 8, 1969, Manson dispatched 4 of his followers to 10,050 Cielo Drive, the home of actress Sharon Tate and her husband, director Roman Polanski. Polanski was away, but Tate, 8.5 months pregnant, was home with 3 friends, Abigail Folger, Wojciech Frykowski, and Jay Sebring. They were joined by Stephen Parent, a young man visiting the property's caretaker. What followed was an act of unimaginable brutality. Tex Watson, Patricia Krenwinkel, Susan Atkins, and Linda Kasabian, under Manson's direct orders, murdered all 5 people in cold blood. Sharon Tate was stabbed 16 times. Her last words were a plea to spare her unborn child. On the front door, Atkins used Tate's blood to write P.I.G. It was a chilling signature, a direct message from Manson to the world he despised. The very next night, August 9th, Manson, along with Watson, Krenwinkel, Atkins, Leslie Van Houten, and Steve Grogan, drove to the home of Lino and Rosemary LaBianca. Manson personally tied up the couple before leaving, instructing his followers to kill them with extreme ferocity. The LaBiancas were stabbed repeatedly. Lino LaBianca had a carving fork left in his stomach and a steak knife in his throat. WAR was carved into his abdomen. Again, the intent was to leave a terrifying, racially charged message. The fear in Los Angeles was palpable. For weeks, the murders remained unsolved, plunging Los Angeles into a state of panic. The police struggled to connect the seemingly disparate crimes. It was Linda Kasabian, one of the participants, who eventually broke, providing crucial testimony that unraveled the family's horrifying web. The trials that followed were a media circus. Manson, with his piercing stare and bizarre courtroom antics, became a symbol of counterculture gone wrong. His followers, particularly the women, showed an unnerving loyalty, shaving their heads and carving excess into their foreheads. Manson and several of his followers were eventually convicted of murder and conspiracy to commit murder. Sentenced to death, their sentences were commuted to life imprisonment after California temporarily abolished the death penalty in 1972. The Manson family murders didn't just end lives, they shattered the idyllic image of the 1960s. The dream of peace and love was irrevocably stained by the grotesque reality of Manson's violence. It forced a generation to confront the darkness that could lurk beneath the surface of utopian ideals. Manson himself continued to exert a strange fascination even from behind bars. He became an enduring symbol of evil, a cautionary tale about the power of manipulation and the dangers of unchecked influence. He died in 2017, but his legacy of terror persists. The Manson family reminds us that cults aren't always about grand, religious doctrines. Sometimes they're born from a vacuum of belonging, a charismatic predator, and the desperate search for meaning in a chaotic world. And the consequences can be devastating. Next, we delve into the dark psychology of Jim Jones and the horror of Jonestown.